I'm starting to realize why Project 25 might be an enemy and why there's so many people talking negatively about Project 25. It's not, I don't think it's primarily because of the reasons why some people think. So this is in on page 731 and it's entitled Federal Reserve. And check out what it's saying. So on 732, it says eliminate the dual mandate. The Federal Reserve was originally created to furnish an elastic currency and rediscount commercial paper so that the supply of credit could increase along with the demand for money and bank credit. And it says a far less harmful alternative is to focus the Federal Reserve on protecting the dollar and restraining inflation. This can mitigate economic turmoil, perhaps in conjunction with government spending. Look at the next part. Limit the Federal Reserve's lender of last resort function. To protect banks that overlend during easy money episodes, the Federal Reserve was assigned a lender of last resort. Says this function should be limited so the banks and other financial institutions behave more prudently, returning to their traditional role as conservative lenders rather than taking risks that are too large and lead to still another taxpayer bailout. Then it says wind down the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. The Federal Reserve um, says the Federal Reserve never held more than $1 trillion in assets, bought largely to influence monetary policy. Since then, these assets have exploded, and the Federal Reserve now owns nearly $9 trillion of mainly federal debt, which is 5.5 trillion, and mortgage-backed securities of 2.6 trillion. There is currently no government oversight of the types of assets that the Federal Reserve purchases. So, Federal Reserve balance sheet purchases should be limited by Congress, and the Federal Reserve's existing balance sheet should be wound down as quickly as prudent to levels similar to what existed historically before the 2008 global financial crisis. Then you got limit future balance sheet expansions to the U.S. Treasury. Um, Says restricting the Fed's open market operations to treasuries has strong economic support, and the goal of monetary policy is to provide markets with needed liquidity without inducing resource misallocations caused by interfering with relative prices, including rates of return to securities. This other thing here, stop paying interest on excess reserves. Under the policy, also started during the 2008 financial crisis, the Federal Reserve effectively prints money and then borrows it back from banks rather than those banks lending money to the public. This amounts to a transfer to Wall Street at the expense of the American people and has driven such excess reserves to $3.1 trillion, up 70-fold since 2007. The Federal Reserve should immediately end this practice and either sell off its balance sheet or simply stop paying interest so that the banks instead lend the money. Congress should bring back the pre-2008 system founded on open market operations. This minimizes the Fed's power to engage in preferential credit allocation. Yeah, so I think that is the big thing. So, when they talking about Project 25, I really do feel like it's not Project 25, the big headline stuff that they're talking about. I really do feel like it's this big thing, Federal Reserve 730 page 731, chapter 24, that you definitely need to get out and read. That is, I feel, the big story that nobody's talking about, and the reason why everybody's saying we got to get rid of Project 25. So, yeah, that's all I got. Peace, one love. I'm out of here.